Hey guys, Stroll here. Wanted to go over the new .300 patch notes for Helldivers 2. Huge changes to all the weapons. It seems like a lot of slight nerfs, some buffs, a lot of magazine-based changes. So we're gonna have a look at those. Hopefully not too long here. I haven't been in the game to test anything myself. Hoping to do that this evening and maybe get some videos up about that. But we'll just discuss some of these and talk about them here. So, um, balance changes to stratagems, change to the spread democracy mission. I'm not sure I know what that mission type is. If anybody knows specifically what that is, leave a comment and let me know. All right. Armors with armor rating above 100 now also reduce damage to headshots. To me, that is huge. This right here made damage mitigation almost nothing. Like, I totally ignored it. If you could die to a random headshot, what is the point of armor at all? What is the point of even the explosive mitigation on armor or anything? So if they are now making armor apply to headshots, that is huge. Heavy armor weight makes more sense. Added armor, that light set that had the added armor to it, the explosive damage resistance, all that is going to mean so much more now. Victory poses will not only play for the extracted. That's kind of cool. It's kind of trolly too. I don't know. Burning damage reduced by 15%. That's okay. That's going to save you, I guess, against Hulks, against Breaker Incendiary, things like that. What's interesting about this is they have not fixed the host bug yet. So I'm still probably not going to be running burning damage in groups until they fix that, because you just don't know if it's going to work or not. So this, for me, is only going to help me because I'm only going to be taking burning damage. I'm not going to be focused on dealing burning damage. So that's how I'm going to be dealing with that right now. The exploding crossbow. I have not really messed with this at all. I've heard bad things about it. Strangely, this looks like a pretty big nerf. Maybe not. It could be like the arc thrower. It is getting increased stagger, and that ended up kind of being a buff to the arc thrower. This also is getting increased stagger, but I haven't heard great things, and they really are bringing a lot of this down. Smaller explosion, reduced magazines. They're making it to where it just takes one ammo box to refill it. Reduced ergonomics, that's weapon handling, so it's going to respond slower. Muzzle velocity is increased, and that was a big complaint. I think it was like the slowest projectile in the game. So I guess that's not going to be the case anymore. So it's changed around, more stagger, smaller explosion. I have heard that it was great at killing eggs. Maybe not so much now, but I guess people were doing something crazy with it. They felt like changing it. I don't know. That's if you know what's going on with this, let me down in the comments, because I'm not sure why they made these changes. It seems kind of strange. I should really, hop on, maybe try to use it, because I just have not touched this one. All right, so the Quasar Cannon got a pretty big change. Actually, got its recharge time increased by 33%. So instead of 10-second recharge time, now 15-second recharge time. Now, the Quasar Cannon already had significant downtime. It had a 3-second charge up and a 10-second recharge time. That 13 seconds of downtime per shot. So now it's going to have 18 seconds per shot. So that's going to make a huge difference when you're trying to take down like a Shrieker nest. It's going to have 3 structures that take 3 shots per piece to take down. If you're trying to do that solo while your team does other things, it's going to have you out for minutes trying to deal with that. So you might want to consider taking other things like the recoilless rifle. Consider that. It only has a 5-second reload. People are like, oh yeah, the reload's horrendous on the recoilless. It's 5 seconds, okay? This is now 15 seconds of recharge on the Quasar. And yeah, you can put it away, do other things, but that's 3 recoilless reloads of time, okay? Plus the 3-second charge up, which people, because you're aiming, moving the cursor, they don't consider that downtime because they're doing something. But you're sitting there doing your DBZ Kamehameha for 3 seconds, that's huge. That's 3 seconds. 5 seconds for a recoil that's a 2-second difference between that reload and that charge up. People don't realize that. All right, the Adjudicator. Full auto is now the default. I always used it semi when I messed with it. Reduced recoil, okay. Magazine change. Again, looks like they're trying to bring all the weapons on a single supply box all the way to full, and maybe reducing it or increasing the mags to get them in line, and putting it with the assault rifles for some reason. I don't know why they did that. Not a big change to the Adjudicator here. I don't really understand it. No capacity change to go with that full auto. No damage change. Not sure what they're doing there. It seems like they're just making a change to make a change, and it's not going to have any kind of significant effect that I can tell. So we'll have to see. Laser cannon. I love the laser cannon, especially against bots. This one is interesting to me. So slightly increased damage. That's great. I hope that's going to have a huge effect on taking down Striders from the front. The laser cannon can take down Striders similar to the Scorcher from the front. It just takes forever. It takes so long. So I hope that really speeds that up. Now, here's the interesting thing. Slightly reduced damage versus large volume bodies. What in the hell does that mean? Have they ever used that verbiage before? Large volume bodies. I have no idea what that means. Are we talking about objectives? I really think that's probably what they're talking about. Are they talking about AA emplacements, mortar emplacements, cannon towers, tank turrets, things like that? Are they talking about the Striders? Are they talking about, the Strider bellies? Laser cannon is great at getting up under there after you take down the miniguns and hitting that Strider belly. It's one of the fastest takedowns for the Striders if you get in that position. So the bunkers, the emplacements on top of there, you can snipe those from so far away. So if they're reducing the damage on those objectives, that's fine to me if you can still kill them. And gunships too. Kills gunships so well. It's probably the best gunship killer in my opinion. If they're reducing the damage on those, but it can still effectively kill those, I'm totally fine with that. But if you just can no longer kill those, I have a problem with that. I don't like that change at all. We'll have to see. I haven't been able to try it. That's the number one thing I want to get in there and test this evening, and I'd like to make a video on that. Punisher Plasma. Reduction of mags, that's fine. A lot of people are like, oh, this thing's crazy, it has a crazy amount of mags, so bringing it down kind of makes sense. Single supply on the reload, that is what they're doing to everything, it seems like. Increased projectile speed, I think that's going to increase usability of this weapon a lot. And it already one-shot Striders from the front. Bring that speed up. This might be amazing against bots. It already staggered like every Devastator type. This could be really cool to use with that increased projectile speed. Decreased damage fall off on the explosion. That might even make it great against bugs. If we have a wider array of damage from that explosion, you might see great shaft clear coming from this thing, especially against bugs. So Punisher Plasma might need a revisit from the player base. That could be a great weapon now. Blitzer. One of my favorite weapons, increased shots per minute from 30 to 45. Oh my gosh, that is huge. This thing is going to be amazing. I always ran this with a rover just to help me with the chaff clear. Sometimes I'd have to swap to Redeemer to get all the hunters off me if it was a hunter planet. Now, being able to shoot this quickly with the Arc Blitzer, it's going to be amazing. I love the Arc Blitzer. And I'm going to be running that for sure on bug plants with that increased fire rate. I love this thing. No other changes. It already one-shots Brood Commanders, staggers Hive Guards. It's so good. It can multi-kill from range. If you fire at max range, it'll multi-kill Hunters, multi-kill Scavs, all the chaff. But the one-shotting Brood Commanders, if you hit them in the face, that head is gone. Blitzer's awesome. Faster fire rate, amazing change. Eruptor. I knew this thing was going to get nerfed. I've been bringing this as my primary to almost everything. Bugs, bots. This thing is way too good. They're cutting the magazines in half. They're bringing the explosion damage down, so the fall off is going to be less damage the further away from the initial point of impact. I've been one-shotting chargers. Now, it's very finicky, but I have a video that I've been working on of one-shotting chargers. I've been trying to make it consistent. It is not consistent, but you definitely can one-shot chargers. You can one-shot almost every medium armored enemy in the game. Hive guards, brood commanders, devastators, berserkers, almost every medium armor enemy in the game. You can multi-kill all the chaff from huge distance. You can single shot kill all the spewers. The thing is insane. So this totally makes sense that they're bringing it down. 12 magazines was really excessive. I never even got close to running out of ammo with this thing. So 6 is totally reasonable. I don't have a problem with that at all. And I've heard that this damage fall off with the explosion isn't a big deal at all. I don't know. I haven't been in to see it yet. But if that's the case, it may not hardly be any kind of nerf at all, which is surprising because the thing is too good. The Sickle magazines from 6 down to 3. I mean, if you weren't... My goal always with the Sickle is to never have to reload. Now, sometimes when you're in Helldiver 9s and you're in an infinite, reinforcement loop, you're gonna reload. So that's a reasonable change. People who were just spamming, holding the fire down, reloading, I don't think that's how that gun is meant to be played. I think you're meant to try to manage the heat, manage that ammo, let it recharge, just like the laser cannon. So this makes a lot more sense to me. The Scythe, damage increase, that's interesting. I've heard it can be cool against like Devastators, aiming directly for the head, really trying to use it as a mini laser cannon, especially against Devastators and the bots who have those, significant weak points that you can really pinpoint. The bugs really don't have that type of thing, but the bots do. So it's interesting. Will I try it? I don't know. Maybe if I get bored and I want to do something against the Devastators, try something out, I might. Railgun, increased armor penetration. Amazing. Stagger force, I don't know. Did you really ever use the Railgun for its stagger specifically? I don't know that I did. I want to see the degree of the armor penetration. Here's the deal. In my opinion, the Railgun's biggest weakness right now is its complete inability to destroy objectives. If it still can't destroy objectives, there's no point in bringing it. It took 20 shots to kill a Bile Titan. What is it going to be now? Is it going to be 10? Is it still going to be more than 10? Is it still going to be completely unable to destroy objectives in a reasonable number of shots? How does it fare against gunships? I think there's going to have to be a lot of testing done to know where the Railgun sits now, because I'm skeptical. It has to be able to do something with objectives. Heavy machine gun, third-person crosshair enabled. That is awesome. I definitely want to try this now. I want to run it with supply pack. I want to see what it can do. But again, I have an issue. I need to be able to deal with objectives. And I don't want to run things like orbital laser, or I don't necessarily want to use my 500 kgs on objectives. So I like to be able to have a support that can deal with objectives. And I don't know that the heavy machine gun can reliably do that. Diligence counter cycle damage up a significant amount. Ergonomics, weapon handling improved. That sounds great for people like that. Again, this is something that against bots, against Devastators, I think could be very fun, and I'd like to try. The regular diligence, up damage, another thing that I'd like to try against bots. Redeemer, slight increase in recoil. I mean, no big deal. Redeemer is amazing. I don't think that's going to change that at all. A lot of times I'll run it semi against bots, just as a backup. Like if I'm running the Eruptor as a primary against bots, I might run the Redeemer in semi just to act as a big Peacemaker. I might not do that anymore now that the Peacemaker damage has been significantly increased, as you can see, from 60 to 75. That's 15 more points of damage. That's huge. Huge. So that's every 4 shots, you're getting an extra shot that you would have had in the past. So Peacemaker now, I think, is a viable alternative to a semi-automatic Redeemer, which in the past you would have just run a semi-automatic Redeemer. Peacemaker had no place. It didn't make sense. Now it makes sense. Senator, huge damage increase. That's amazing. 150 to 175, and then speed loader on empty. And I never considered that they would have done this. This is a great way to handle it. If you want to round reload, you still can. I often will run down to the last bullet in my clip because in this game, if you get down to the last bullet in the clip and you reload, you keep one in the chamber on every weapon. And so I will often reload on my last bullet, especially in things like the Eruptor, right? So with the Senator now, you can get down to your last bullet and you can still round reload if you like to round reload, you know? But if you get completely out, you'll speed load it. And that is super cool. That's going to be really good when you're running Ballistic Shield and you don't necessarily want to run like the Defender. You just want to run Ballistic Shield, Senator. You can run the whole chamber out, speed load it, and boom, you're back. So you can run like Eruptor, Ballistic Shield, Senator. That's a cool loadout, right? And then you can run like Arc Thrower or Laser Cannon or something as your support. Super cool bot loadout, in my opinion. That's a bot loadout I can definitely see myself running. Dagger. Increased damage from 150 to 200. That's 50 points of damage per tick. That's going to make the Dagger amazing. That is going to make the Dagger another option to run with a Ballistic Shield, especially against bots, because it's a laser pointer. You can point it at those Devastator faces, and they might just shred. So again, something else I want to test with the bots, Ballistic Shield, the Dagger. Does it blend? We'll find out. AR-19 Liberator, damage increase from 55 to 60. This is something that I had a problem with. The regular default Liberator had the same damage as the Sickle. The Sickle had something like an 80-shot magazine. So you had no reason, other than that slight initial firing delay that the Sickle has, to run the Liberator over the Sickle. The Sickle was just plain better. Now you do. Now the Liberator has 5 more points of damage per shot, which really adds up, and the Liberator feels great. Liberator feels amazing to run. Liberator Concussive, 55 to 60, that's 10 points per shot. This is going to make it great. Much better than where it sits right now. So the whole point of this is it's going to stagger a bit. Could be good against bugs. I'm still not sure where that fits in with bots. I mean, what are you going to be staggering? Maybe it'll have some effect on Devastators. I'm not sure. I could only kind of see it against chaff on the bug side. If you run the Liberator Concussive and you have some thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. So comment below if you do. Jar 5 Dominator, damage decreased by 25. I think that recently got buffed, didn't it? So this kind of just puts it back where it was. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't think they're just kind of shuffling that thing back and forth, and I think it's really just basically in the same place. The regular Guard Dog. Let's see. Decreased damage by 30%. That's interesting. Is this right? Because I thought that was the Rover. I guess it's both. AXAR 23 Guard Dog. I thought I read that differently. Let me double check the patch notes because the site I'm looking at here might have this wrong because I thought I was on the Discord earlier and it stated this differently. So let me double check that real quick. Let's see. Patch notes. Let's see. We are on the guard dog. And okay. Yes. They don't have this right on the site. Sorry, guys. The guard dog rover got a 30% damage decrease. That's the laser guard dog. The guard dog AR, the one with the gun, had a slight increase in damage, which makes way more sense. So the Liberator guard dog got an increase in damage, not 30%, only slight. They did not even give a percentage. So it's just a slight increase. Let's see what else we got. They increased the health of the Tesla Tower and the machine gun sentry and the airburst rocket launcher. The proximity stuff, they changed a bit. We'll have to see about that. They nerfed the speed of the Bile Spewers. Hulks won't be staggered as much. I'm afraid that this is an indirect nerf to the Arc Thrower. I suspect that the Arc Thrower is no longer going to stagger Hulks, or it's going to take like 2 shots to stagger a Hulk. The Arc Thrower was probably the best way to deal with Hulks, and I doubt that's going to be the case anymore. You're probably going to have to get good with the autocannon or the AMR and get them 2-shot kills going, or bring stun grenades, or get your laser pointer skills up with the laser cannon, because I doubt the Arc Thrower is going to stop them in their tracks anymore. The Flamethrower might not insta-kill you anymore. Damage reduced by 20%. Devastator fire rate slightly increased. Okay, that's the regular Devastator with the pistol. Gunships can now side strafe. All right. Scout Strider is now less vulnerable to explosions. That probably has to do with the Eruptor. I bet that with the decreased explosion fall-off of the Eruptor, they're probably trying to make it to where, actually, you know what? I know what this is. I bet you can't kill Scout Striders from the front with the Scorcher anymore. I bet it's an indirect Scorcher nerf. Now that I think about that. We'll have to test that, but I bet that's what's going on there. That's such a subtle little thing. Scout Strider Rider is now less vulnerable to explosions. Well, what does that mean? Scorcher does explosive damage. What's the great thing about Scorcher? Oh, you can 2-shot Striders from the front. That all kind of goes together, right? I doubt you can do that anymore. That's interesting. Fog generators, health, and armor increase. It says fog generators. I think that what they're talking about are Spore Spewers. I don't think you're going to be able to one-shot Spore Spewers with almost anything anymore. It's going to take a little more now, I think. Gunship spawners now have a much lower cap on how many gunships they can have active at the same time. So gunship fabricators are kind of a trap, right? If you're on Helldiver and you go for a gunship fabricator and your team isn't good at killing the gunships quickly or getting the hell bomb off or anything like that, it can tilt your whole game, eat your reinforcements, and just end the game in an instant, right? And a lot of that can have to do with you having 20 gunships up in the air in a very short amount of time. So I'm curious to see what that cap is going to be now. Is it going to be 8 per fabricator? Is it going to be 6, 4? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to find out. And we'll see if it has any effect at all, because it might still just tell you the same way it does right now. Gunships are super strong with those rockets. Patrol spawning has been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. So patrols for solo players are going to be insane. And I follow a few solo players on YouTube. I'm very curious to see how this affects them. Takubo is one of those guys, and he tries to manipulate spawns and get spawns going by doing the objectives first and trying to get as many spawns going as he can to kill things. I wonder if this is really going to bother him or mess him up or make it much harder. Odo does a lot of solo videos. Erevan does a lot of solo videos. I'm curious as to if this is going to shut them down, and I don't know what Arrowhead's intent is here, to be honest. Either there's some like metadata of players exploiting, sample farming. I don't know. I mean, most people who put hours in this game are capped on resources. So is it just a wider vision that they want group play and they don't want solo play? I don't quite understand the intent here, or maybe they just don't like these content creators kind of making it look like solo is trivial, because who knows how many takes these guys do to get a solo Helldiver difficulty out and make it look easy. Maybe Arrowhead doesn't like that, so they don't want to make it look easy. They want to make it look insane. There could be some messaging, things like that going on. Who knows? A few changes to objective distancing. Automatic climbing you can disable. I'm definitely turning that off. I will hit spacebar. I do not need the automatic climbing. I will hold spacebar. That has killed me so many times. Spread democracy. There's my answer right there. Spread democracy is raising the flag on all missions or on all difficulties. When you ready, you salute. That's going to be really cool. Tremor is going to have a different reaction. Here's something strange. Shots that ricochet from heavily armored enemies will properly hit the Helldiver who fired them. Wow. I wonder what that's going to be like. So if I shoot a Hulk or if I shoot a Charger with a weapon that does not have the proper armor penetration and I get that white marker, am I going to kill myself? Boy, this is going to be crazy change. I'm surprised I haven't seen anything about these yet. So a bunch of crash fixes as well. I'm not too concerned about all those. Ultra wide support. Okay, this is a big one people complain about, and I know if you've played the Eruptor, you've had this. If you fire the Eruptor too close, it'll pull you, suck you in toward it. It's actually saved me against Chargers a number of times because I'll go under them before they get to me. But it's a bug, you know. Dead Scavengers calling in reinforcements is supposedly fixed. Friend request issues still not fixed. Damage over time, if you're not the host, still not fixed. Spears still messed up. A few things like that. So you still have a number of outstanding things. The biggest thing for me is the damage over time bugs. It's a shame because I will not run that stuff until they fix it. But overall, some crazy changes. Definitely want to test the laser cannon stuff out. The secondaries, the Dagger, the standard Liberator seems like it's be very good. The heavy machine gun with the reticule. Some great weapon changes. You pretty much have to try the whole roster out over again. The shot reflection is going to be crazy. Does the Scorcher kill Striders from the front anymore? Does the laser cannon kill objectives? How's the railgun now? Can it kill objectives? So many questions. Just got to get in the game and find out. So if you watch the video, I definitely appreciate it. If you like it, please like and subscribe. I'll try to get some more videos out. I'll try to get some test videos out. And if you've been watching up to this point, thanks for watching.